Hey math friends, welcome back to math. We are starting an entirely new module today, okay? We are going to start module 6. I know we've gone from 4 to 6. We're going to come back to 5, okay? But now we're going to do 6. So I'm just going to go ahead and get us started, and then we will be able to rock this lesson. Now, here we go. We are starting lesson 1 in module 6. I can solve comparison word problems. Okay. Now we have done word problems before. We just haven't done comparison problems before. Okay. So I want you to get your brains warmed up. You're going to go into Google Classroom. You've got a fluency. I'm going to give you a little more than 90 seconds to finish this. I'm actually going to give you about 3 to 5 minutes. I can't remember exactly what I put in the directions. But take between 3 and 5 minutes. If you're really going to challenge yourself, do 3 minutes. If you need a little extra time, do 5 minutes, okay? Get as many as you can done correctly. Be careful because you might be looking for the part, you might be looking for the whole, okay? So pause the video, go work on your fluency between 3 and 5 minutes on your timer. How many you're going to get done correctly is what I'm looking for, okay? So then come back to our video. Don't turn it in until the very, very end when we turn in all our work too, okay? All right. All right, friends, we are ready to get started. We are working with Miss Curry today. She's going to tell you you need some linking cubes for today's lesson. If you don't have them, that's okay. You can always draw a picture. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to use my linking cubes. I'm going to draw it out if I need to. Make sure you have a whiteboard marker and eraser or something to write with, paper, pencil, something, okay? Because you need to be working these out too. There is no application problem today because we're doing word problems in today's lesson. So we're going to skip over our application problem for today. So let's get our ears listening, eyes looking, and let's get busy. Might help if I actually turn it up.
Hi friends, it's Miss Curry.
Hey, Miss Curry.
I'm excited for our lesson today. We're going to be solving comparison word problems. In today's lesson, you'll need 4 sets of 10 linking cubes. If you don't have linking cubes, that's okay. You can participate by following along in the video, or you can look around for 4 sets of 10 small objects. Push pause now and go gather your materials. Let's start by reading this story problem together. Read with me. Rose wrote 8 letters to her friends. Her goal is to write 12 letters. How many more letters does she need to write to meet her goal? Draw a tape diagram to solve how many more letters Rose needs to write. You can also use your linking cubes or small objects to help you draw and solve. I will work behind my secret wall, and then we'll come back and compare. You got this.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause her because it always takes us longer than it does them. So let's make a tape diagram. Let's reread sentence by sentence. Rose wrote 8 letters to her friends. So I know that she wrote 8. So I'm going to draw out my 8. Label it 8. And then I'm going to label it with an R for Rose. Okay. Her goal is to write 12 letters. Now, that 12, is it a part or a whole? That's her goal, is to have a total of 12 letters. So we're going to put her up here. So I'm going to put a little box over here because I don't know how many are over here. And I'm going to put 12. And that's my total. That's my goal, okay? So how many more letters does she need to write to meet her goal? Well, we don't know that. Okay, so let's try to solve this. I know that I could add on to 8, or I could count on to 8 to get my mystery number. So I could say 8 plus something equals 12. I could also start with the 12. I know I have 12 altogether, and I've written 8. And that leaves me with how many left to solve. Okay, so now let's do it both ways. Let's count on from 8 up to 12. Ready? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many did I have? 4. Now let's count backwards from 12. Okay, we're going to start at 12. We're going to count back 8 times. Here we go. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. What did I stop at? 4. So what was my mystery number that we had to solve for? It was 4. All right, let's check and see what Miss Curry came up with. Y'all don't mind, I'm going to fast forward through her work so we can figure it out.
On my tape diagram from the linking cube. Good time.
All right.
Welcome back. I asked you to draw a tape diagram, but I made a model of the story. Watch as I draw my tape diagram from the linking cubes. Rose wrote 8 letters to her friends. Can you point in my linking cube model? Where are the 8 letters that Rose wrote to her friends?
That would be the blue cubes right here.
Right here. So I will draw a tape to represent the 8 letters that Rose has already written. I'm going to label this R. What number should I write inside? We should write 8. Her goal is to write 12 letters. So that means that there are still some letters that Rose wants to write. I'm going to extend my tape diagram. We'll label it with a question mark. I'm also going to label it with an M for more. This is how many more letters she wants to write. These 2 parts together make the total 12. Does this look like the tape diagram that you drew?
Very
It
similar.
would also be fine if you chose different letters to represent the 2 parts. But we definitely need to have 12 as our total. We can write an addition sentence, 8 plus something equals 12, or we could write a subtraction sentence. 12, our total, take away 1 part that we know, which is 8. And that gives us something. Rose needs to write 4 more letters. Great job, everybody. Let's celebrate with a cheer. When I say easy peasy, say lemon squeezy. Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Woo! Let's take a moment to clear our boards. Let's read another story problem together. Rose wrote 8 letters. Nikhil wrote 12 letters. How many more letters did Nikhil write than Rose? Okay, I'm not sure how to make a tape diagram for this because I'm used to looking for a part and a whole. And I'm not sure in this case what the parts and the whole is because I'm comparing 2 different amounts. Is it okay if you just watch me try a few things and think to myself, does this make sense? And if you have some ideas while I'm working, you just go ahead and say them out loud to me, okay?
I can do that.
Say, come on, Miss Curry, you can do it.
Come on, Miss Curry, you can do this.
Okay, thanks guys. Okay, let me see. Rose wrote 8 letters. Okay, I'm just gonna try, I can draw something. I can draw 8. Nikhil wrote 12 letters. Okay, so Nikhil wrote 12 letters. How many more letters did Nikhil write than Rose? Does this look right so far to you? this looks like I have a part and a part, and what I'm looking for is the whole or the total. And I know that 8 ones and 2 ones is 10, and then I have 10 more from the 12 that I would need to add to this 10, which is 20. But does that make sense? Did Nikhil write 20 more letters than Rose?
No.
No. Okay. So I tried this one. It didn't work. That's okay. That gives me information. Let me try something else. So I'm going to actually have linking cubes represent the letters that Rose wrote. This
You can
is
write it
8
out,
linking
too.
cubes.
So
And
let's
this
do 8.
is Rose. I'm very visual. I can see that there's 8. Nikhil wrote 12 letters. Well, I have sticks of 10. So if I add 2 more to my stick of
This is
10, that will
Rose.
give me 12. And I'm going to label this N for Nikhil. How many more letters did Nikhil write than Rose? Okay, I am finding this very helpful. Can you point to where you see how many more letters Nikhil wrote than Rose?
So I can look and compare it. These are extra. So I can say here's 8, here's 8.
That would be this part right here.
This is the extra part.
I can see it. This is the amount that they had that's the same.
See, these are the same.
This is the amount Nikhil has that's more. How many more letters does Nikhil have than Rose? He wrote 4 more letters than Rose.
Because here's the extra.
Watch as I use these cubes
nothing
to draw
here.
a tape diagram to compare the letters that Rose and Nikhil wrote. Whose tape do you think this belongs to?
Rose.
It belongs to Rose.
Okay, I got
We can see that it's the same length as Rose. And what number should I write inside?
8 because we had
8.
Hey.
How many letters did Nikhil write?
Hold on, friends. So sorry, friends. Let's try this again.
He wrote 12 letters. So will his tape be longer or shorter than Rose's tape?
His tape's going to be longer. Look, because we have longer objects.
It will be longer because 12 is greater than 8. I'm going to start drawing his tape, and then you say stop when you think I've gone about where 12 would be.
Stop.
Oh, I heard it. You said stop. I'm going to stop there. Very good. Now I know
I
that
don't want
this
the 12
tape
there.
represents 8. So that means that this much of Nikhil's tape is also 8 because they're equal, which means this part of Nikhil's tape is what we're trying to figure out. That's how many more letters he has than Rose has. And since Nikhil wrote 12 letters, we can think of this as 8 plus something equals 12, or 12 minus 8 equals something. So how many more letters did Nikhil write than Rose?
Well, let's look at it because we drew it out. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Nikhil wrote 4 more letters than Rose. Very good. I also want to point out that if Nikhil wrote 4 more letters than Rose, that means that Rose wrote 4 fewer letters than Nikhil, because 8 is 4 fewer than 12. This part right here represents the 4 fewer letters that Rose wrote than Nikhil. Look at this new model. It's called a double tape diagram. Why do you think it's called that?
Because there's 2 tapes.
Because there are 2 tapes. A double tape diagram is often used when we're comparing 2 different amounts, because it's really easy to see the difference in the two tapes. In fact, the whole purpose of a tape diagram, any tape diagram, is to help you understand the math and solve the problem. Sometimes drawing two tapes is helpful. Sometimes drawing one tape is helpful. The key to solving problems is to make a tape diagram that makes sense to you. Are you ready to challenge yourself by drawing a double tape diagram? Let's try the problem together. Tamara collected 9 seashells on the beach. Julio collected 11 seashells. How many fewer seashells did Tamara collect? We're comparing two amounts. So let's try that double diagram. I will solve this well behind my secret wall, and then we'll come back and compare. Ready? Go.
Okay, I'm going to pause her because it always takes us longer. And I also want to show you if we draw it out when we do the tape diagram. So let's start with Tamara. T for Tamara. She had collected 9 seashells on the beach. So I'm going to draw out my 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, this helps me see visually that there's 9. Okay. Julio collected 11 seashells. So I'm going to put a J for Julio, and I'm going to draw out 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then I'm going to put a box around it. And I'm going to put 11. Okay. This helps me see it. So now I can come over here and be like, doot, 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 doot. There's the 9. Here's how many more that Julio collected, but that's not what we're trying to answer, okay? So let's draw it down here. Make a 9. And then we'll do Julio's. Julio had 11, so we need to go a little further. And if you need to draw it out, like I did up here, do that, okay? I know this is 9. This is something, okay? So, but the question is, how many fewer seashells did Tamara collect? So we're trying to figure out how many less she collected, okay? So we know that there's 11 here. So I could say 11 minus 9 equals something. Or I could say 9 plus something equals 11. Now I already drew it out up here. So I can even say here's 9, 10, 11. How many did we have here? 2. So if I took 9 away from 11, I'd get 2. And if I add 2 to 9, I get 11. So Tamara collected 2 fewer. So let's check Miss Curry's work.
Push pause for extra time. This is new learning today, so if you got stuck, that's okay. I decided not to finish my way so that if you needed some help, I can show you how to set up a double tape diagram. We know that Tamara collected 9 seashells. So I drew her tape, labeled it with a T, and wrote 9 inside.
So
okay, that started off
and then I just wrote it here.
Fairly simple. Julio collected 11 seashells. Well, I'm going to label J for Julio, and 11 is a little bit more than 9. It's not like a crazy amount more, like 20 or 30. It's just a little bit more. So I'm going to draw his tape a little bit longer. Now we really have to think about the question, how many fewer seashells did Tamara collect? Well, Tamara collected 9 and Julio collected 11.
So we knew that we had 11.
If this tape represents 9, then this part of Julio's tape is also 9. And this would represent how much more seashells Julio has than Tamara, that means that this part of Tamara's tape is how many fewer she has than Julio. How can I solve this problem?
Subtract or add.
We could count on. 9 is so close to 11. Let's do that. 9, 10, 11. That means that Tamara has 2 fewer seashells than Julio. Way to go, everybody. You learned a new model today. And don't worry if you didn't master it. We'll keep practicing. Besides, this is really just like a little sample, and you'll learn about it in a lot more depth later on. It's now time for the problem set. So do your best. Your must-do problems are 1 through 3. Very best thinking for 10 minutes. And if there's time left over, I challenge you to try number 4. It's been fun spending this time with you. See you later.
Bye, Miss Curry. All right. Now, friends, I'm going to suggest to you today to draw it out in your tape diagram. Okay, don't just put the numbers in there because this is a new model and we may not fully understand it just yet. So if you draw it out, it's going to help you see it just a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm actually going to do number 1 with you today, even though that is one of your problems. So let's go ahead and look at it. Let's look at our directions first. Our directions say, oh, we're going to read, draw, write. So I'm going to put it on here. Read, draw, write. Now let's look what it says though. Read the word problem. Draw a tape diagram or double tape diagram and label. You have to label, okay? Write a number sentence and a statement that matches the story. You have to do both. Make sure you're doing that. All right, so let's read our word problem. Peter has 3 goats living on his farm. Julio has 9 goats living on his farm. How many more goats does Julio have than Peter? Okay, so let's go back and draw what we know. We're going to talk about Peter first. So I'm going to put P for Peter. Peter has 3 goats living on his farm. So I'm going to draw out 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to label it. Okay, I'll even draw my box around it. Now, Julio has 9 goats living on his farm. So let's draw 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to put a 9 here, and I'm going to make a box around it. Okay, now, how many more goats does Julio have than Peter? So this is where I can draw my line to match up. Okay, now I'm going to come down here and draw it just like Miss Curry did without the picture. So Peter had 3. But Julio had 9. Because my total is 9. So I'm going to do 3 right here. Question is, how many more did he have? So now I can look and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He had 6 more. So I could say 3 plus something equals 9, or I could say 9 minus 3 equals something. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 6. Count backwards. 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay. Now I got to answer my statement. How many goats how many more goats does Julio have than Peter? Julio has 6 more goats. Now let's double check. Did we read the problem? Yep. Did we draw out a tape diagram or a double tape diagram? Now, guys, I did both. Do which one works best for you. Okay. If you need to draw out with the picture, then do that. If you don't need the picture and you can do it without, use this one. Okay. Doesn't matter to me. Which of these two work best for you? Okay. But we did draw it out. Did we write? Now remember, we had to have a number sentence, which we have. And we need to have a statement that matches our story. We answered that question that Julio has 6 more goats. So friends, you need to have this for your answer, okay? You can choose how you want to do your tape diagram, either with the picture or without the picture, but you have to have a statement and a number sentence to go with it. And don't forget, you have to label them. If you don't label them, I'm not counting them fully correct. So make sure you're labeling them, okay? You're going to do number 1, 2, and 3. You're also going to do your exit ticket. So when you're finished, make sure you turn all of it into me, including your fluency, because remember you did your fluency at the beginning. So 1, 2, and 3, I already did number 1 with you. Okay, don't forget to do your exit ticket, and I'll see you friends next time. Bye, guys.